Hope that clicks alright. My voice certainly isn't. Hi, and welcome to the second episode of the fourth season of Decompression Chamber. I'm your host, Mario, and I had an opening quote, but I forgot it. So I'm just gonna say I hope you've had a nice day, and I'll just say roll the intro. Yeah, who needs a quote anyway? I'm bringing all the quotes. You're listening to me, I'm saying the words. Don't listen to other people's words. No, that's not the point. Sometimes quotes feel applicable, sometimes quotes feel useful. And sometimes quotes feel meaningless and pointless and garbage, stupid. I don't even use the word garbage much in my daily vocabulary, but I was kind of trying to make a point there, you know. There are times in my life where I'll read a quote or I'll remember a quote or I'll kind of think about something and it feels directly applicable to the situation I'm in, and it uplifts me and it affirms me, or it changes my perspective, or it provides me a little bit of wisdom that I feel like I need. And sometimes I'm in a place where no matter how good the quote is, no matter how insightful or true or hitting the mark, sometimes it just doesn't really feel like it helps, doesn't feel like it does anything, like it serves any purpose. Sometimes it just feels like, okay, cool. So I've heard a quote. This is something that somebody said apparently. But yeah, I've been thinking about that today. Been thinking about a lot of things. Thinking about Jimmy Butler.
Butler! Long shot, good!
My basketball idol, my hero. When it comes to basketball, that is. And I was reading up on some of his quotes and how often he'd talk in interviews that he wasn't the best shooter, or he wasn't the best dribbler, he wasn't the most athletic or the tallest, he said, but his advantage was that he worked harder than others, you know. And I think about that a lot because, you know, I watch him on the screen. I watch a highlight of him scoring 56 points against the Bucks in the most recent NBA playoffs, and it's like it's incredible. It's somewhat godly, you know. Same when you watch like somebody play the violin with expert precision, or when you see someone like make a dish that you never made before, you think, oh wow, I'll never be able to do that, or I think to myself, you know, I'm so far from where they are. When in reality, they aren't. It's not good for me to put that on a pedestal. It's not right really for me to imagine like it's unimaginable, because at the end of the day, those people worked hard to be able to do what they do. And sometimes it's easy to trivialize or kind of overlook the fact that is a representation of their hard work. Their skill and what we kind of describe as talent is really just hard work and dedication. And we always enjoy the fruits of their labor. And I think the same I hope will happen with me. At least in the sense that if I just keep working at my craft and care about the things I care about and care about the people that I care about, and use my experiences to tell stories and to change people's lives for the better, I hope that the same would happen to me, that I'm able to make stuff and produce things that people might look at and go, wow, that's incredible. And hopefully with messages like the ones I'm sharing now, I can inspire people, you know. The fact that the only thing between you and being everything you want to be is having the right opportunities, of course, but at the end of the day, it's about putting yourself in a position where you can make yourself better. And this is in so many realms. You know, I kind of felt this today when I was playing basketball, and I realized that it wasn't helpful for me to be frustrated because I wasn't hitting many shots in a row, because I'm out of practice, and it was only my second practice in a row for quite a long time. So I just kind of tried to be patient with myself and say, hey, it's okay that you're missing these shots. You just keep playing, you keep shooting, and it'll get better over time. Because that's what I witnessed when I kind of took up basketball in Salisbury, was that when I first went, it was difficult, and I tried hard and didn't get very far, and it took me ages to get my first 103 buckets. Whereas over time, 103 was easy, then it became 203, then it became 303, And so I've just got to remind myself to just keep plugging away. It's not about making this huge overhaul, life transition, or major achievement, major milestone in one day. It's always a process. It's always a series, So that's what I'm doing here. I think about myself in the future. I think about myself looking back, and I think, what will future Mario think about this version, this 22-year-old who's living with his parents, who's graduated uni but somehow managed to find a job, and all of this stuff. I wonder what I think, and what I think right now is that I'm happy to be where I am. I'm fortunate. I'm grateful. I wake up every day and I feel safe. I feel loved. And I feel like I have time and energy to do things, and not everybody feels that way, and I don't always feel that way, Sometimes I feel terrible. Sometimes I feel like I don't want to do anything. Sometimes I feel like I'm not worth anything. Sometimes I feel like I'm not worth doing anything, or not worth being cared for, or worth caring for myself. And on those days, it's that much more difficult to know what to do, to feel like anything's worth doing. And the reality is, there's no cure-all, I can't just go for a run and then suddenly not feel depressed. I can't write in my journal and then suddenly feel like I've processed all of my emotions and all of my thoughts. So it's a process. Sometimes it's just time, just going to sleep and waking up enough times till you feel better. Sometimes it's kind of recharging with love from others, and kind of either talking to people or reaching out or whatever it is. Sometimes it's doing the things that I'm passionate about, giving myself some sort of fuel for the fire of the joy of life. And sometimes it's just sitting in that emotion and being like, well, this sucks, I feel terrible, and just allowing that to be the case. I saw an Instagram reel earlier this week that was something like, this feeling of discomfort that you're avoiding, or this feeling of pain that you don't want to face, let it rest for a moment and say to the thought, say to the feeling, you belong here. And according to this life coach guy, that does wonders for whatever the situation is. And so maybe that's something I'll implement. But there's one thing I know for sure, is that you belong here. For whatever reason, you decide to click this video and listen to me ramble about my life, and maybe you just watch it in the background while you're doing the dishes, or maybe you sit and watch me intently, and you pay attention to all my expressions and the way my lips move when I speak, and the way that the light interacts with my face when I talk. Or maybe you kind of just have me up on a window on your screen, and you're doing something else at the table. And the fact that I don't know, but I can picture these things, is kind of beautiful to me. It's like all these imagined lives I think about. That's the way I always think about my future. I'm always thinking about these potential kind of different pathways, different avenues, different timelines. And none of these timelines have a clear narrative or a clear kind of consecutive structure, but I like to think about glimpses. Today marks a year from the day exactly that I first met my girlfriend. Again, shout out, you're wonderful, you're amazing, you're the best. I had to cut myself off there, because if I just start talking about how much I love and appreciate her, then that'll be the entire duration of the podcast. But nevertheless, it's a year ago to the day since I met her. Well, it won't be when I post this, but when I'm recording this, it will be. What's the date? Well, for another 10 minutes. It's Monday the 25th of September. And so I'm sure I wouldn't have been able to predict the way things ended up being when I first met her. We met at just a party at uni. Very innocuous kind of circumstance of me and one another. And yet the timeline that we ended up taking part in has been like one of the best and most rewarding and most amazing and fulfilling experiences of my life. So if that's anything for you guys, for you in the audience, think about the fact that out there right now, there's one potential future. There's many potential futures where everything works out great, where things are going to go. There might be some potential timelines and futures where everything goes exactly to the T. There's some where everything's a complete disaster, but I have firmly in this belief in my heart when I close my eyes that there's an unimagined future for us all where we are happy and where we live better than what we're living now. And I know that sounds kind of all woo woo and all of that, but if I do believe it for myself and if I believe it for others, then surely I'm going to act on that, you know? Surely that's what the process that I care about really is. You know, beyond my love for film, beyond my love for talking on this podcast or for playing basketball or, you know, spending time with my family, what if that is the skill? What if that's the craft that I'm working on? The craft of living a good life, the craft of bearing myself and bearing those around me. It's a difficult thing, but I know that I don't have to achieve it by tomorrow. You know, Rome wasn't built in a day and all that. I've got many days to build. And it's, again, as I said in the previous episode, it's not always a linear graph. There's ups and downs, but today I felt good. Today I woke up and I went outside and I kind of took in the light from the sky. I tried to relax myself, so I listened to some music. By the way, if you're looking for any recommendations, there's this song that I really love. It's called La Ciruela, by this guy called Nico something. Boof. Anyway, you search what I've just said and you'll find a good song. And it has a very special place in my heart. Nevertheless, that's what I was listening to this morning. And then I had like a nice healthy breakfast. I've been trying to eat better because the summer me and my girlfriend, we did not eat in the healthiest of ways. We did eat sometimes very healthy, but sometimes it was less. And I'm lucky enough to have a good metabolism, but like that doesn't mean that it feels good on your body all the time. And it doesn't mean that that's a good long-term habit to have. You know, frozen yogurt a couple of times isn't going to kill you, but frozen yogurt, you know, with all that caramel and chocolate sauce multiple times a day forever, now that can kill you. So yeah, I've been trying to eat healthy. Where was I going with this? I'm kind of just recounting my day, aren't I? Yeah, bits and bobs of work and stuff that I won't really talk about because it's a little bit inside baseball and I'm probably not allowed to talk about it. There's probably nothing about work specifically that I am going to talk about now that I think about it. Yeah, no, that's true. Well, maybe I can talk about stuff in vague terms, but I don't really feel like this podcast is where I'm going to vent out my work issues, you know. Not like there's any workplace drama or anything. Believe you me, if anything, it's very wholesome and very appreciative and very welcoming and supportive, so that's kind of all the drama you're going to get in that realm. But yeah, anyway, I feel like I was just the fact that I've had a good day. My girlfriend came and visited. By the way, it's probably weird for you if me referring to you like that, if you're watching the video. But I feel like we interact so much that you might not be watching this. Nevertheless, yeah, getting to see her even for a short amount of time really, 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 really brightened my day. And yeah, and since I've been relaxing, I watched the end of Edge of Tomorrow, which has the most stark, the most difficult cut to credits moment I've ever witnessed in a film. Alright, spoilers for the action film The Edge of Tomorrow, which came out in like what feels like 2019. So, at the end of the film, Tom Cruise's character, something, walks up to Emily Blunt's character to see that she's alive. And it's kind of like a cute reconnection between two people who could have a future together but haven't explored it yet because of the war kind of thing. And then he sees her and he smiles. And then the film hard cuts to the opening to the song Love Me Again by John Newman. And like, I feel like I'm just going to do the end credits as it happens. So I smile, I chuckle. It's a no. Hopefully either I put the clip in or I do something. But yeah, the cut to credits was brutal, and it really, really underpinned the quality of the film for me, because the whole film is so good, and I really, really enjoyed it. It was my first rewatch, and I liked it. The concept works well. The CGI isn't terrible. The action's fun. I didn't hate Tom Cruise. I really liked Emily Blunt. Let's be real, Emily Blunt's great in everything. But yeah, and then suddenly that cut to credits was so harsh, and it kind of felt like it, felt like it really left a wrong bitter taste at the end of my mouth. Kind of like that feeling like when you lick the end of a cable when you're a kid. And if you're not weird like me, then I guess that analogy won't hold. Metaphor, whatever. Yeah, I don't know whether it comes across very clearly, but I'm recording this video late at night. Partially because I tried to record this video just earlier and my battery ran out, which was a bit frustrating. And partially because I prefer recording in the night, because I can manipulate light, the fact that I've got this light over here and another light somewhere over there, and maybe I could have put something here, but yeah, I just thought I'd be going for more interesting camera angles and setups this season, because I feel like that's something I neglected. And there's a couple of mirrors in this room, and I love shooting with mirrors, because frame within a frame is always fun. And yeah, this kind of thing is what one of my lecturers would call like dirtying up a shot, which is where you kind of put something in the foreground so that it occupies space and doesn't make it feel empty. Because if you had the same frame and had this space around my head be the same as all of this space over here, the framing wouldn't be very nice. And it also adds depth, right? Because you've got, I don't know whether this is going to fuck up my autofocus, you've got kind of like the foreground, which is here, the mirror itself, and then you kind of got the middle ground, which is this relatively, and potentially the wall to the right of the mirror. Then you got the back, I'm also in the middle ground obviously, but like at a different depth. And then you got like the ceiling and stuff, which is the proper at the back of the ground. And I'm not explaining anything you don't know, but having that feeling of objects being closer and further from the camera, especially using a wide angle lens, which I love to do, I think it's just nice. I like it. It's good cinematography for me. But then again, I could watch this in the edit and go, ooh, that sucks, Mary, because I'm looking at this on a tiny monitor. So, yeah, because now that I think about it, I could have put like a key light here, and it wouldn't have shown up on the mirror. Not a key light, sorry, a fill light. But yeah, I won't bother you with all the details. Anyways, to sum it up, I'm trying to eat healthier, trying to play basketball more. I'm enjoying work and being treated well at work. I'm staying relaxed. I have the freedom to kind of do what I want. I'm living the good life and appreciating all the moments I can, because, as I said yesterday, you don't get them back. So yeah, if there's anything I would want you to take away from this video, is that there is an unimaginable future that is creating itself right now, and it's creating itself for you. And you don't necessarily have to choose it as much as you do have to make the choices that get you there. And those choices, in my opinion, are just making choices that make you happy, that make the people around you happy, and make you really prioritize the things that you consider important. Because at the end of the day, that's all we can do. I love you very much, no matter who you are or why you're watching this. And I hope that this love spreads to you, and I hope you can spread it to others. Because it's something that can be done without any cost, any monetary cost. And I think it makes the world better. So yeah, this is my attempt. Hope you've made the world better today in some way too. And if not, I'm still proud of you. Because every day is an opportunity to turn things around. Lots of love. Mwah. The oblique term peak of the soul. Please never know what's about to recover. My zen getting rolled at the top of your words. Witches on my head, wishing that wicked white sweat, whisk up the eggplant pie, and even side of dragon. Whole country can't rest on a wing since then, never sing.